Hi, it's Glenn Dietzel here, live from the Canadian Lake Home. Unfortunately, I'm traveling with my clients at the Vegas Sandcastle, working with them during our normal business break through Google Hangouts. So I want you to watch the following interview that I did with two of my clients, Chris and Susan Smith. It's definitely one of people's favorite interviews that I've done. You're going to learn a lot about structuring million-dollar deals and how their business was transformed in 30 days working with some of our predictable, certain, and secure systems. So enjoy it.
Hello everybody, and welcome again to another live Google Hangout here. It's Glenn Dietzel here, live from the Canadian Lake Home, and just a few days ago, last Thursday, we were super packed here with people that flew in, drove in, and my wife was again impressed with the people that and entrepreneurs that really decide that they not only are number one not only want to play big, but secondly want to use a whole new revolutionary approach to playing at the highest levels using some pretty cool stealth systems. And we're going to cover some of those systems today. I'm going to interview one of our clients. Actually, they come as a pair, Chris and Susan Smith. And I'm going to interview them today, and you're going to learn a lot. So you're going to want to have paper and pen ready. And secondly, if you're one of our clients right now, I want you to gives you a chance to meet them if you haven't met at Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home, or you haven't met them at Omega Mind, or you haven't met them on one of our training events, several of our training events that we do every single week of every single month. You're going to want to learn from them today, and that's why we've designed our Google Hangouts to help our clients in the area of understanding a new paradigm in the advisory age, so you can execute a lot faster and quicker than what typical experts and gurus teach in the marketplace today. So I'm going to introduce them or bring them on here in just a second. But before we do that, something that we try to do on every one of our Google Hangouts is showcase a picture from the Canadian Lake Home. I'm going to show you a picture from this past week here. We just had a snowstorm come through our area, dumped about 6 inches of snow Friday and Saturday of this past week. So I'm going to show you a picture. Plus, I also want to show you a few pictures that were taken from Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home. And I want you to just take a look at what actually happens here. And I'm again sitting right in the actual room where we hold our high-end exclusive events. Sometimes we shoot these Google Hangouts out the window to my right here, and you can take a look at the forest that's next to us. Right now, I decided, since it is Christmas time, and we do have a rather large Christmas tree, my friends and relatives are all impressed with the size of the tree. It's a 12-foot tree behind me here, so I'm going to showcase that. I think that's kind of cool to allow you to get into the Christmas spirit. And sometimes we shoot our Google Hangouts actually overlooking Lake Huron. So I'm going to show my screen here. So I'm going to disappear here just for about a minute. I'm going to go through just some of what's happened here just last Thursday, December 12th, Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home. And then I'm going to introduce Susan and Chris. I'm really looking forward to another content-packed Google Hangout with you. And so let me just disappear here for a second. I'm going to show you my screen. So we're going to show you here what happened at Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home. Here are some of the attendees. You will see that we were, as I said, I opened up a few extra positions for people at Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home. And it benefited, actually, we had a couple of sicknesses at the last minute, so it benefited a couple of local clients of ours, or people that have been following us, found us online here in my own hometown of Sarnia, Ontario, Canada. So this was the event here last Thursday. People came in from all over the world. We had people from San Diego, California, Oceanside, California. We had people from parts of Mexico that I can't even pronounce. And we had people that were Canadian A. So these are some of the people. We covered a ton of content that you can't find anywhere online today. And I always challenge everybody to Google our concepts that we cover and see for yourself that no one's teaching people how to execute with no convoluted business funnels, no sales presentations, no sales proposals, not having to hire out copywriters, etc. So that was one of the action shots of people taking copious pictures. Susan and Chris witnessed that, and perhaps they were even taking pictures themselves. This was a break here. This is Susan here at the forefront, so you'll meet Susan here. She looked, as my father would say, an old-fashioned term, she looked dashing. So Chris, you're a lucky man, and I'm a lucky man too. So this is some of the people here on a break. This is Tammy Langstaff, and I just show you this picture here because Tammy witnessed me as an educator, as a teacher. I taught her oldest son 17 years ago. Just when I was entertaining the idea of going into business for myself and beginning to look at other options. However, at that time, even though I was looking at business, I decided I was going to move into the corporate world, and I got into administration with our school board for 6 years. So that's Tammy. She was here with us, and she's watched our meteoric rise in the business world. This is a small group that I was working with on a break at Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home. And right here is where we have our 12-foot Christmas tree overlooking. So we moved the couches, chairs around to make it a really homey feel at Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home, to see people there. That was it. That was our event. This was a picture that we shot from the snowstorm that we had here, and you'll see some of the ice buildup on Lake Huron. And one of the kind of beauties of our area and being on the lake, and especially on the Great Lakes, is that there's never 2 days that are the same when it comes to what the lake looks like. And so I just wanted to show you those few pictures here of our last event. We've had 2 events here where we've packed the home, literally, the Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home. And we ran Omega Mind here, I think, was less than a month ago, I think 4 weeks ago now. So I'm going to talk to you today and introduce to you now, that's a little bit of what's been happening here at the Canadian Lake Home. I'm going to introduce to you now Chris and Susan, and I want you to give them a warm welcome. And I'm humbled. You know that we go in periods. We interview a lot of our clients so that you can learn. I believe that modeling is the #1 way that we learn. It's the reason why I launched Omega Mind. So since I said Omega Mind, let me just turn on my, I'll get my face in here. As Nadine says, Glenn, when you put your Omega Mind logo on, you disappear. And that's Omega Mind. It's a whole new approach of teaching clients how to create high-end programs and services, creating their own certification, co-branding program, and with the ultimate principle is you learn by modeling, not another sit and get, as I call them, but just getting things done, focusing on focus and execution. So I'm going to interview Chris and Susan. And I'm going to interview each of them, I guess, off and on from their own perspective. They're a husband and wife team. I'll let them introduce to you exactly what it is that they do, because I won't do justice by telling you what they do. And I want to interview them also from the standpoint of what's transpired in their lives over the last 30 days since coming to the Omega Mind event that we did back just about 4 weeks ago now. So over the last 30 days, what they look like. And that's what I want all of you to see, especially if you're just starting with us, that it is possible to make quantum leaps of accomplishment and growth. And that's why I launched Omega Mind. That's what has allowed me to succeed in business, not because I'm a genius by any stretch of the imagination. And when you meet me in real life, you realize that Glenn has a ton of flaws. What I have is just a really cool system that I've been lucky enough and fortunate enough to have survived and weathered the storms of the online world, and the fact that most people have a very difficult time making it online today because they don't know how to position themselves as a trusted advisor. So my focus here is dual. #1, helping you with accelerated teaching and learning, and secondly, mixing that with accelerated business principles, concepts, and systems so that you can take a look at how my clients benefit, all right? And bottom line, that's what it's all about today, right? It's about results. My clients are investing in results. Your clients should be too. And my goal with every one of our clients is to assist them specifically in the area of focus and execution. In an overcrowded marketplace today, everybody, where your marketplace is overwhelmed, you're overwhelmed, we're all taking in so much information, we could all execute on our own if we had enough time. That's the reality of the online world today. You can access just about everything you want. The problem is that it doesn't give you speed. And speed has got to be your competitive advantage today. And so I want you to write this down. Money loves speed. Speed loves money. Money loves speed. Speed loves money. So I want to assist you today, like we do on all of our Google Hangouts, to make speed your competitive advantage. Because remember, it's not the big that eats the small. It's the really fast that eats the slow. All right? So you want to make speed your competitive advantage. And that's why my clients are investing in Omega Mind and our accelerated teaching and learning systems and accelerated business systems and the coagulation of the two in order to execute really, really quickly. So that I'm going to now bring on Susan and Chris. Welcome, Susan and Chris. I've clicked on the blue box so that you are highlighted. I've disappeared here. Everybody can still see me. Small version of Glenn. Big version of you. And welcome to our Google Hangout, Susan and Chris.
Thank you so much, Glenn. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Glenn.
Yes. So let's start off by first of all explain to everybody what it is that you do in business, and let's start there, okay? And where do you hail from?
Okay, we're based in Ontario, Canada, and so although we have an office in Michigan that we've launched recently, so we hail from Windsor, Ontario, which, as you know, has been hit economically very hard in the last few years, which prompted our expansion. And so at this point, our company is focused half on outplacement, which is when companies are closing or downsizing, a very unfortunate thing that's been happening due to the global economy and its changes. And the other half of the business is focused on helping individuals with job search, resumes, career coaching. So I took a look at your program. I've basically vetted, Glenn, I vetted your program over a little bit of time here to make sure I could check on everything. I found it to be a very, very progressive speed to market type of program, and that's what we were looking for. Because as you know, Glenn, I'm an overthinker. And Sue, maybe you can tell a little bit about yourself.
Well, that's basically what we do. And I was explaining to the individuals at Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home that my type of company is, if you see me walking up to your company, it's not a good thing because I have to do on-site terminations. So that's one of the downfall. But we help the individuals afterwards, and that's the key during that time, helping with their resumes, helping with the career coaching, helping them deliver themselves into the marketplace today.
As you both know, this is an amazing market, right? You met Winton Churchill. I've interviewed Winton on a previous Google Hangout a couple of months ago now, and he's in the freelancing market. Being an entrepreneur today there's so many opportunities because the whole trend is for people to be freelancing. They're starting their own businesses. The biggest employer by 2017 in North America is going to be self. And there are so many opportunities for companies today that decide to rise above all the noise in the marketplace, like you guys are, and deciding to make an intelligent decision to create a certification program, rise above all the competitors, and position yourself heads and tails above everybody in the marketplace. So I want to talk a little bit, today about some of the stealth strategies that you're using, some of the systems that you're using. But since I brought up some of the pictures of the Canadian Lake Home, Susan, and I made sure I had a picture of you. Forget about Chris, right?
Thank you.
I had a picture there. And you met some wonderful people there. And as you know, and you've been here, you're part of our Omega Mind program as well. So let's first of all start with Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home. We'll spend a couple of moments there. What did you take away from the event? You've now been to my Omega Mind event, which we're going to talk about, the kind of the before, the transformation that's happened to you over the last 30 days. But what did you take away specifically from Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home? And maybe associated with that, any surprises? Let's just go there for a couple moments just so you can kind of self-reflect with our listeners, our people that are watching us live that maybe wanted to be, because we had a lot of people that wanted to be, but maybe couldn't fly in, had some sickness or health issues, or just before Christmas, whatever the reason. So let me hear from the two of you, because I know a lot of people here would love to hear. But what your take on Christmas at the Canadian Lake Home event?
Well, one thing that I found both at the Mega Mind, but at the Christmas at the Lake Home, is that finding an individual like yourself, Glenn, how passionate you are about your process and how passionate you are for people out there today to, get to that next step, to that next revenue growth. And you're really out there to, help promote us. And it's really nice to see that as an individual and as an organization that, you really want to have, be able to help us out. And that's what I took out.
Now, for myself, Glenn, I think it was, I love the systems. I love the turnkey systems that you're delivering to us so I can get out there faster. I mean, my biggest problem, as you know, is I overthink. And I found that you presented some stellar, how to have quicker, more meaningful conversations with your prospects. You presented some stellar information on the inductive, deductive process that just I thought was better than any features, advantages, benefit training I had ever seen, because it was more compelling and engaging with the prospect. We've used, between the Omega Mind and some of the information that you've talked about, I even just used some new word tracks that you give through the program today to close a few deals this morning at a higher level than we regularly close. This is going to be the best December we've ever had on the B2C side of our business, because of the more meaningful, engaging, visual, spatial type of approach we're taking to help people imagine where their lives can be with our services. So I found that the Christmas Lake Home is not only great for that, it was also great. We're meeting some great people. Obviously, being in a group like Omega Mind, where all those people are committed to be with you for a long amount of time, that's phenomenal. The help we've already received from some of those people has been great.
I'm going to bring my silly looking head, balding, as you can see, all of you up here, balding, and also a bump here from whacking my head. My wife can't believe every single week I tend to whack my head. Yesterday it was on a frozen trunk that didn't open up high enough, and whacked it on the inside part that kind of attaches. I don't know what. I'm not a technical person when it comes to vehicles, but I banged my head, suffice it to say, and just about knocked myself out yesterday. So I want to talk about some of the deals that you've got on the table. What you're charging today. I mean, you got some really big deals. But let's step back just for a second and let's take a look at the Chris and from both of your perspectives. And I want to pick up on a theme too that you brought out about overthinking, what it's cost you. Susan, kind of a theme that you've alluded to, and I know that you're the cynic in the relationship, so I want to speak to that for everybody. And I shared with both of you that both of you remind myself of me and the old classic overthinker. My overthinking cost me about $2.5 million as I kind of take a look at what overthinking has cost me over the last 15 years, just minimally. And then my wife, who tends to be the cynic in our relationship. And I want you to help us, speak to the people that are overthinking and help us overcome our overthinking from your perspective. Susan, from the cynic's perspective, how do we overcome that? That's where I would kind of like to go in our training. So those are some of the questions I want to ask. I'm taking notes too, just so all of you know. You'll know why I'm taking notes. When you've gone through our program on building your own business intelligence faster than what your competitors are doing by accumulating the critical types of data. And so you'll know why I have a pen here, and I'm also taking notes as you talk. So let's go back, though, if we can. Back 30 days, just before coming into Omega Mind, you invested to move forward in certification, royalty, riches. which is one of the programs that all of our Omega Mind members get, the opportunity to build your own certification co-branding program. You have an opportunity to work with me all of 2014, coming into the Canadian Lake Home, where you get a chance to present and get feedback. I assist you on building your presentations, helping you close deals, getting video testimonials, all the stuff that, that needs to get done. And really, we want to specialize in the area of high-end programs and services. That's what every business owner today needs to be able to do to build the kind of cash flow to grow your company. So let's go back to the two of you. Share with us maybe the fears that you had coming into Omega Mind. The two of you, since you live 2 hours away from the Canadian Lake Home, you were one of the few people that were able to actually drive here. Share with us who you were 30 days ago. So Chris or Susan, either of you go first. I want to do the kind of like where you were and then where you are today, and then we'll share some business changing strategies and systems with all of our listeners.
I think I'll start here because
sure,
you can understand the overthinker side of me. I love reading. I've done the business degree. I've done the HR certificate. I've done all of the psychology. But you know what? When it comes down to it, if you're just sitting, reading, and not developing into the marketplace, and you said something very quickly about how that's a problem. You said if you're not out there doing, you're just playing at business. And I've had very good years in the business when it just came to me, but when it doesn't just drop in your lap, when the leads aren't hot like they were in the recession for our outplacement business, and you have to go after it, it's a different story. So what I loved about the program and what resonated with me is you kind of strip down to the core all the things that you don't have to do. We bought a book publishing program, $5,000 program to develop your own book. I said, after I listened to you, I realized I don't have to put that out right away. Let's just have quicker, more meaningful conversations with businesses that may need our services. And I think that's the biggest transformation. I went from an insular, stay in the business to let's get out there and start talking to people. And that's made all the difference. So we went from a sales funnel, probably around $30,000 because I've been busy thinking I need to read another book. And I went to take action based on your recommendation. We have filled in, I would say in about 2 weeks, a little over $1.5 million in our sales funnel in projects just by making simple conversations, hot emails, calling into organizations, and using some of the knowledge we've gained from Omega Mind to reach the right decision makers, even using LinkedIn to support that. And that's already getting our B2B, business-to-business outplacement side and our corporate side launched. We also did an interesting thing. Since I took Omega Mind, one of the biggest transformations is being more strategic, which means trying not just to be better, but in actuality trying to be different. So we've created an executive summary that you teach in that program that's more compelling, higher priced, and allows us to go after bigger programs in a much more unique, strategic, positioned way from a brand position point of view, and also from a strategic position, what will deliver on the brand. So that's been my biggest takeaway. Was I skeptical? No. I think after looking at a lot of what you said and comparing it to what I've learned from either Michael Porter, the big strategy guru on competition, and some of these others that I've seen, I saw that your stuff is the real deal. But what's most important is it's an actionable, implementable type of process, and that's what I needed. So for me, that was the biggest change.
Susan, let's talk about you, the transformation coming into Omega Mind. And thank you, Chris. You came into Omega Mind. I know you were the quintessential skeptic, just very much like my wife. But my wife, just like you, Susan, very supportive, obviously, of Chris, the aspirations that you have as business owners, entrepreneurs. So take us back, 30 days ago, coming into Christmas, or not Christmas, the Canadian Lake Home event, coming into Omega Mind. You had met me. What was going through your mind, first of all, and then where during the event, that 2-day intensive that we did, where did you, and specifically at what point did you decide, you know what, I'm really glad that Chris talked me into being a part of this program and me acquiescing to the fact that we need to invest in Omega Mind. Where did that happen? So if you could talk to both of those questions, that would be great.
Sure, absolutely. When I first, when we first had spoken, I talked to Christian about, about being vetted for the Omega Mind, and I thought, well, here we go, another, situation where we're going to start something and then we don't deliver on it. We're going to start something, but we're not going to progress into it. And that's sometimes what happens. We'll start a project, but because life changes throughout the month, nothing's ever done. And then we try to go back to something that we learned a process from previously before, we weren't able to implement again because you kind of forgot things, the processes. So Christian had talked to me about how much he's been enjoying it, and I've been seeing some of the things that you have been doing, Glenn, and then that's what we decided, because you have mentioned that we're going to be working as a team, that you're going to be like personally coaching us, helping us along the way, not only us but other individuals, and that's what really brought me into the Omega Mind, and that's why I decided to invest into the Omega Mind because of that, that coaching element of it, where other systems never did that, and we really needed someone, even though we're all professionals, we're all business owners, we're all the same, but it's just we all need that hand-holding at some time,
Right.
And with the process included really helped out. So what did I take away? Oh my gosh, I took away so much. I literally went in there like this, saying, yeah, teach me something, Glenn, right? To like leaving there just going, I've got too much in my brain. I don't know where to start, right? And I found that the process that you provided, it was unbelievable. Some of the things we knew already, but you had to implement it. Like I already knew how to go look for emails or how to look for individuals in an organization, but I didn't know about sending letters, introducing our organization. I didn't know about doing that. I thought it would be intrusive, but not the way you have presented it. It was unbelievable. Just the type of wording, how we, portray our organization within these letters. I was absolutely excited. I just couldn't wait. We went back the second day after the Omega Mind, and we went back, and I said, okay, we got to get started. Let me get the pad out, let me start typing things down, and let's get started, because I was really excited. And he's never seen that before.
She told me about 3 or 4 times, it's time to get on the phone.
Yeah.
Start calling. You've got the numbers there. Start calling. So
yeah, absolutely.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
It's
So
amazing.
that's what I took away.
It's let me I'll blow my silly looking head up again here for a second. It's amazing, following some simple yet highly, Chris, in your words, not just being better than others, but being highly strategic in how you use your time. A concept that we've been underscoring here on our Google Hangouts is having an ROIT business, return on invested time. And time is a great equalizer for all businesses. And even though we work with a lot of companies that are already established and are somewhat profitable in their eyes, maybe they're very profitable, but the problem is they're still not using their time at the highest level to really grow their company and expand their influence as quickly as possible. So, Susan, can you pinpoint very specifically where you, day one of Omega Mind, where you decided that, this was the best investment that you've ever made in your business? Do you remember where that actually happened?
Like I said, we were learning about the letters, and that was the early part of the first day, and that's where I thought to myself, oh my gosh, seriously, I could have been doing this all along. and then when I thought to myself, I could have been doing this all along, then I thought, I wish I would have invested into Omega Mind a long time ago. Because of that. That's where I found it. I just even before the first break, they're just like some of the process and elements.
Well, let's talk about that, because you're using those systems. Using a concept that we teach all of our clients. We're teaching in Omega Mind, showing you exact models that you can leverage and use, creating private letters, to the key people that you're reaching out to just speed up conversations and getting people to trust you a lot more. What have you found that's working, and what is that doing? Like, how is that specifically speeding up the conversation for you? What have you found by doing that? And let's go there for a moment.
Well, I've been doing some of the outbound, so I'll speak to that. So
Sure.
what's happening is we're targeting the right people more than we were before. That's the first point, is getting the right decision makers, getting to the highest point for our purposes in the HR departments, to the directors or the VPs. And then if they push us down further, that's fine, but it's hard to be pushed up, right?
Right.
So we're getting put through that process, but also we strategically changed our offerings to be more what, after listening to your interview feedbacks process and listening to past clients, what we should be doing. We're changing our offerings to meet the market. Instead of just coming out with a product and delivering it, we're listening to them. We revised our product strategically. For example, in outplacement, they wanted a longer process that we took care of the person until they found work. So we've introduced that into the system, but we've done it in a way that it doesn't take away our personal time, because it'll be group training, which is there's other tactical issues to that have worked out well, I think, for us. So that's got a better response in the marketplace. And then I've unbelievably found that they've been, because we're making more of a discussion with them instead of a salesy call, it's having a better result. So there's more, yes, let's see your executive summary. In other words, let's see a proposal. But remember, we're dealing primarily with corporate. On the consumer side that we deal with, excuse me, it's been more about the word tracks. You know, pay once, invest in this once, cry once, and then benefit from this for the rest of your life. I've been using that for the last week. That invest once. I know we're more expensive, but it's the best investment you can make in one of the best companies in the marketplace. And this morning I was saying we are the best in the marketplace, so we're upping our ante, and that's getting a much better result too.
Yeah,
and then we email that.
No, exactly. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. One of the things that you always want to do, instead of saying you're the best, like you're understanding more completely, watching our predictable, certain, and secure systems, is the fact that instead of saying you're the best, saying here are the criteria that you should be evaluating any company based on by, and those are the criteria that set you apart in the marketplace. So congratulations on that, Chris. That's fantastic. Let's talk about deal structuring, raising the level of conversation, if you will. And I want to end here. Well, we'll have one more question for you around specific recommendations for people that are either clients or people that are looking at, making an intelligent decision and investing in themselves. And maybe some of the criteria that you would make sure that people vet a company by. So those will be the two final questions, okay? Just so all of you know, we haven't scripted this out between Chris and I or Susan and I, so you're getting the real thing as we're working together here today. So first of all, talk to us about some stealth strategies that you're doing to create conversations, deals in the market, and some recommendations you have from our listeners from both of your perspectives. Chris, you said something like you have about $1.5 million in deals. I know a couple of them you've got at least $1 million deal on the table. So talk to us about what you've done, some recommendations to our listeners, and then Susan, if you could chime in some of your recommendations as well, that'd be great.
So the pre-call aspects or the pre-connection aspects, we've called into different organizations that we target as a viable sector or industry that we want to approach, knowing where there are problems, where there may be layoffs or downsizing. We called into to get the right names, sometimes from the websites, as you said to do, and we'll call into a department head, and often they'll say, well, I would be looking for because we do staffing as well on another division that we can pass people over to. I might be looking for that. So they pass us on to the right person, the HR director, the HR manager that would handle that. That cuts out a lot of time because I don't have to deal with a gatekeeper. I can go. They actually give me the phone numbers and the extensions. So that itself has been a speed to market, getting us into the door without any of the regular rigmarole you'd see in a nothing against Steve Schiffman or some of these other sales trainers, but that gets you right to the person you're supposed to be with. So I think that's one of the key differences. And then our offerings are more strategic. Obviously, we still want to talk to them face to face and customize that for them. And I'm leaving that door open, that trying to push for the face-to-face meetings with them as well. So that's been a big part of it. Pre-planning, getting a list of viable targets, even TV, outplacement online, networks that are sending us people that are calling in from the consumer side saying, we're getting laid off soon, and then calling into those companies. So we're being very aggressive in an outward, actionable way. That's the biggest difference.
Why not, Chris? Just before I go to Susan here for a second, you've got $1 million deal on the table, I believe, correct?
Right.
How did you get that? A deal that you would never have seen had you not been a part of Omega Mind. Is that correct?
I would say safely there's a lot of those deals I would never have seen had I not been part of Omega Mind, because we were focusing on just a very low end of the market, lead generated through Google, some of them yellow pages, and they just aren't the quality. So now we're proactively going out after them.
Now you've got these conversations, instead of being here, they're way up here, right? And
Right.
Let me just bring my silly face back here. They're here, and you're bringing them way up here. So as all of you, for the listening to Chris and Susan will come to you in just a second, that in itself is bringing massive momentum for not only you can feel it, I mean, you can see it with Chris and Susan, but for people that are interested in working with your company at whatever level, is now all of a sudden increasing the momentum. And that's crucial. I want all of you to write this down, that everybody wants to be close to the source of momentum. Nobody wants to be dining in a restaurant that nobody goes to. People want to be dining in restaurants where there are huge recommendations, where there's activity and there's buzz around it. That's what we all want. And so raising the level of conversation in your business is crucial. Susan, from your perspective, if I could hear from you for a moment.
It's about reaching the top individuals. We're always thinking that we can only start from the general manager, about now having the confidence to going up to the VPs and the presidents of the company, which make a huge difference. And it's not, and from Omega Mind, learning from Omega Mind, we're not talking about our organization. Like, we have a scripted way of saying, hi, this is Sue from Career Niche. We're an outplacement company, la, 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 la. Now it's about them. Can you tell me a little bit about your organization? Can you tell me about your pain? Where would you like to see your individuals from today that you actually hired and now have to let go? And these people have family and friends and co-workers. And what would you like us, what would you like to see? So it's asking different types of questions, and like Christian was saying, like more word patterns when speaking with them. So that's really helped out with because I'm the best salesperson in the world, right? So, and now I'm even the the universe now.
Yeah.
No, I'm the universe. Because of Omega Mind, just because those little word patterns, just the way you just lay out the way we present things now.
We effectively doubled. I would say this month we've doubled our consumer side of the business, just using different word tracks alone.
Yeah.
Now on the business side, I'm certain, I'm positive we could more than double our outplacement, or quadruple or triple or quadruple, I should say. So I really believe that if you manage these systems the way you're saying it, and don't pretend you're in business, but get out there and be in business, use these very engaging, and I love that word because I heard it during the Christmas day, and people were talking about engaging. They're very engaging, very persuasive without being sales-like processes. They're conversational, and like you said, more conversations. It makes it sound so simple, and it is. So you just have to have more conversations.
Yeah, newer and faster conversations is our mantra. Absolutely. You know, you guys are having a record-breaking month, and this is December. What is your Decembers normally like, Chris and Susan?
Crickets?
Yes, you can hear them chirping in the background.
Crickets.
And I was just talking to Christian when we came back from the Canadian Lake home on last Thursday, which we met a lot of great people, especially with Omega Man also. On Friday, you know, we were being able to close sales a lot more. And at the end of the day, I'm just saying, please stop the insanity.
Yeah.
Because there's too many sales.
There's too many sales, and we're just like, I haven't even gone Christmas shopping yet. I haven't even done anything. I haven't even bought my turkey.
But hey, it's a good problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're gonna love. And by the way, this is fantastic. We are going to spend hopefully Thursday another opportunity to interview as our last Google Hangout before the Christmas holidays, which our international office will be closed for a couple of weeks. But Stephen Rowell, you guys know Stephen.
Yeah.
Unbelievable what he's been accomplishing since Omega Mind. Let's quickly finish off here today for a few moments. Let me just bring you back here just for a second here, and then I'll bring you full size, full screen. What are your biggest recommendations, one or two recommendations from each of your perspectives, both for people that are in Omega Mind currently, or people who are checking us out? What would be your one or two recommendations for them?
Yeah.
Well, I think as an overthinker or overanalyzer, perfectionist, and I'm not a perfectionist on everything, but I'm a perfectionist when it comes to the business. I feel like we have to offer the most unique or the most or the best in everything we do. The problem with that is you delay things going to market, and the world passes you by in this fast-changing world. So I think the speed at which we're going to market with now our certification program for career coaches in January, I think the speed that we're going to market by talking to different prospective corporations that need the outplacement, and the more frequent conversations, and a more compelling visualization that we're creating for the consumers that want resumes or career coaching. They weren't really responding to the career coaching as well as I would have liked. Now I'm bundling it in with the resume packages. I'm seeing that they're responding better to the visualization of where they can be without this, and the word patterns are creating more interest. So I think get to action. That's what it's all about. That's what we're doing now. That's the biggest change. And if anybody's not doing this, I guarantee it'll be money well spent. I really looked at Glenn's system frontwards, backwards, sideways, every way. Even after I started with your CRR system, which is fabulous, by the way. It's just more great information than you could get in most university programs, I would say, and you can actually make it actionable quickly. So I'd say anybody out there sitting on the fence, talk to Glenn, move things forward, or
Absolutely.
Talk to us, whoever.
Absolutely.
Susan?
What I found with it, Omega Mind, and what I really loved about it, and as a skeptic, I'm so glad I took it, and I'm so glad I'm within the Omega Mind. It's just not only you'll learn about Glenn's processes, like I had said earlier, it's the community of like-minded individuals, the people that I've met, the tidbits, like their expertise. If anything comes up, they'll put their hand up, say, do you mind if I share this with you? And I've learned so much from all of these 15 individuals. It's amazing. You learn Glenn's processes, plus you get little extra bonuses, as I say, like little tidbits. I love it, and that's what I love about Omega Mind.
And I just want to pipe in with one thing. Steve Raoul was one of the most giving gentlemen at the last Omega Mind, and I say everybody that hasn't been listened to him yet, that he'll be on Thursday with you, right, Glenn?
Yeah, and just so a word of clarification, we brought in as an experiment in launching Omega Mind before 2014, 15 entrepreneurs globally, and that's the number 15 that Susan recommended or used, I should say. So thank you for your recommendations. It's absolutely critical that, and I'll give all of you here a number if you want to exchange contact information because you're interested in finding out more about Omega Mind. Just text the word Omega, and that'll allow us both to exchange contact information really quickly, seamlessly. It's not painful, and there's no pain involved. and you and I will be connecting directly. 248-469-4376, 248-469-4376. That is, if you're interested in Omega Mind, you know that you want accelerated focus and you want to execute like nobody's business, and making 2014 your year. And I don't mean that to be cliche-ish at all. I mean you're truly interested in true business acceleration, creating massive quantum leaps in your business. Then you're going to need to know how to focus a lot differently than you're doing right now, and you need to know how to execute a lot quicker and faster. And we've got some unbelievable people in Omega Mind. I have got a vetting system that I created, and it'll give you a chance to be vetted by me directly. You can a chance to vet me and our company too. So with that being said, Chris and Susan, let me just, I guess the last question to you. What would be a vetting criteria that all of our viewers should write down, maybe 2 or 3 things if you want to share, on vetting Glenn Dietzel and Omega Mind? What would be your vetting process, or what would be some vetting attributes or variables that you think would be very important for people to be aware of before they make a significant investment in their future through coaching and consulting? And I guess in this position, or in this case, Omega Mind.
I'll start first here because Susan had me do some of the vetting prior to moving forward with Omega Mind. I would say the strategic speed to market, newer and faster conversations approach was one of the key things. That it's based on an actionable process. It's theoretically sound, along with, I mean, if anybody's coming from a academic MBA or BCom program, you often don't move as fast as you should because we're taught to be more perfectionistic at school. But it does. It sound with Michael Porter, it sound with the brand positioning gurus out there like Jack Trout, Al Reese. So I looked at it from a theoretical perspective, as well as this going to make me, it's going to motivate me. And I like the fact that I don't feel, even though we're partners in the business, I feel now like I've got a team of people besides Glenn, his whole team in the Omega Mind helping me, which is a very comforting feeling, because when you feel like you're on your own all the time, it can be stressful, even with partners, but getting other people from different work experiences and business experiences, it makes it easier. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Chris. Susan, from your perspective.
Well, like I mentioned before, it's about your passion, that you really want to make sure that, the companies do, make it to the market and increase their revenue and growth. And you're just a great coach. I don't know what to tell you. That's what I would.
It's a very personal approach. I think
yes.
The fact that we have somebody, it's not somebody over the internet. I've used other coaches in the past, just on you don't get to see them, you don't get to talk to them, you barely, it's just, this is a very hands-on personal approach that you give, and you're invested in our success just as we are, and that's exciting. I like that about you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that's why I created Omega Mind, for the best way that I know that raises everybody's accountability. My accountability, every one of our Omega Mind members' accountability. You heard, as Susan and Chris mentioned, that everybody has everybody's back. And in today's marketplace, where there's just so much information, where do you turn? How do you find the time? What you don't need is another sit and get where you get a lot of great information, but at the end of the day, you don't have a way of implementation. So that's why we've created Omega Mind. You just have to, if you're interested, and this seems to be something that you're serious about business, and that's what we attract, people that are serious. Many of our clients are startups, and half of our clients, I would say, are kind of in the startup phase, and the other half have already created some momentum, but they just want to work a lot more strategic. They want an intelligent business that will give them the kind of lifestyle that they really want to, and most importantly, they want to go from frustration to freedom. So just text me Omega, O-M-E-G-A, to 248-469-4376. I'm really excited for those of you that are part of Omega already, what we're going to be doing in 2014. It's going to blow you away. You get a chance to enjoy the seasons here at the Canadian Lake Home, and some of what we're doing in the U.S., and I'm just really excited. Those of you that are new to the Omega Mind program, because we've got a number of you that have been moving forward with us since our Omega Mind event, we do have a training tomorrow, and you can get all those details in the private client site. You can phone our international office. If you need any assistance at 519-542-3043, and all of you have that number. Just to finally then, Chris, maybe how can people find out more about Career Niche? What contact information would you like to give to all of our viewers?
You want to answer that?
Yeah, we are located at www.careerniche.com. If you like more info, you can send it to info@careerniche.com, or you can call us at 888-284-4814. And that goes into our international office also.
Good. That's excellent. Guys, I know you are so busy. This was supposed to be, as you know, a quieter week for me to kind of wrap everything up as a company. And I've got a long, it's like, you know, you can, as you mentioned, Susan, it's exciting. It's almost like, you know, do we even have time for Christmas this year?
Yeah,
You know, when you start moving at speed to market fashion, but it's exciting. I really look forward to bringing you back on to a Google Hangout in the new year. And all of you that are part of Omega Mind, maybe you weren't able to get in for the very first event that we're doing. You'll meet Chris and Susan on our virtual training that we do, multiple training events every single week at the live events. And they are an amazing resource. And as Chris and Susan said, we've got some unbelievable talent in this program, people that surpass me by far in different areas. And it's Omega Mind is a program that I've created not only from a teaching learning perspective, so that you can, you know, teaching is one thing and being successful in implementation is completely different. And that's why Chris and Susan, you've invested in this, and that's why everybody has. They just want to implement. That's all you want to do.
Yeah.
Get away from all the pain of overthinking, not sure what to do, and it's not about perfection. It's just about excelling at implementation. That's all it is. Excelling at implementation. If you can begin to excel at implementation, your business will take off, will grow, will just go to new heights that the limitations are only dictated by you. And that's, you know, that's why we're all in business, right? Because by building a successful company, we can do the kinds of things that we really want to do. Giving back in the organizations or the not-for-profits that we either want to create or that we support, showcasing to family members and others that, you know, what the entrepreneurial lifestyle can really do for communities, for cities, and for the people that we really care about. So, Chris and Susan, I'm humbled to have you on here. It's been an absolute privilege to meet both of you at the Canadian Lake Home. And all I can say is, you think, you know, amazing things have been happening right now, just wait for the next 30, 60, 90 days on where your company's going. So hold on. I've been witnessing this for the last 10 years with my clients. It's exciting, and I'm very proud of you.
Thanks again for having us. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you for everything, Glenn. We really
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Look forward to our next Google Hangout. We're going to try to do a special one on Thursday. So watch for that right here at newgurumodel.com/hangout. And Chris and Susan are back closing deals, and I look forward to speaking with all of you again really soon. Live from the Canadian Lake Home, this is Glenn Dietzel, and looking forward to hopefully our last Google Hangout this Thursday, if I can squeeze that in, interviewing one of our Omega Mind members. And I really look forward to our paths crossing at the Canadian Lake Home and in Omega Mind. I'll talk to all of you again really soon.